Welcome class 12. Today in this video I'm going to provide you chapter number 1, Bricks, Beads and Bones, the Harappan Civilization's Notes. Let's discuss the timeline first. Early Harappan Civilization from 3300 BCE to 2600 BCE, Mature Harappan Civilization from 2600 BCE to 1900 BCE, and Late Harappan Civilization from 1900 BCE to 1300 BCE. The extent covering Sindh, Balochistan, Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and parts of western Uttar Pradesh. Its total area is about 12,99,600 square kilometers. It started as a farming village in 3300 BCE near Ravi River. The first site to be excavated was Harappa, so it became the type site of Indus Valley Civilization and thus also known as Harappan Civilization. Now let's have a look at subsistence strategies of Harappans. Harappans ate a wide range of plant and animal products including fish. Grains found at Harappan sites include wheat, barley, lentil, chickpea and sesame. Pellets are found from sites in Gujarat. Finds of rice are relatively rare. Animal bones found at Harappan sites include those of cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, and pig. Studies done by archaeozoologists indicate that these animals were domesticated. Agricultural technologies. Archaeological finds indicate that bull was known. Models of plough have been found at sites in Cholistan and at Banwali in Haryana. Evidence of ploughed field at Kalibangan has been discovered. Traces of canals found at Rotogai in Afghanistan. Water reservoirs found in Dholavira and use of wells indicate that methods of artificial irrigation was in practice. Mohenjo-daro, a planned urban center. Development of urban centers is considered as the most unique feature of Harappan civilization. Town planning. The settlement is divided into two sections, the citadel and the lower town. The citadel owes its height to the fact that buildings were constructed on mud brick platforms. It was walled and physically separated from the lower town. The lower town was also walled. Several buildings were built on platforms which served as foundations. Other signs of planning include bricks which, whether sun-dried or baked, were of a standardized ratio. Drainage system. Roads and streets were laid out along an approximate grid pattern intersecting at right angles. It seems that streets with drains were laid out first and then houses were built along them. Every house was connected to the street drains. The main channels were made of bricks set in mortar and were covered with loose bricks that could be removed for cleaning. Very long drainage channels were provided with cesspit at regular intervals for cleaning. Domestic architecture. Residential buildings were generally single-storied or two-storied, centered on a courtyard with rooms on all sides. Their concern for privacy is visible as there are no windows in the walls along the ground levels. Besides, the main entrance doesn't give a direct view of interior. Every house had its own bathroom, paved with bricks, with drains connected through the wall to the street drains. Many houses had wells. The citadel. Buildings used for special public purposes were made on citadel. The warehouse, a massive structure of which the lower brick portions remain, while the upper portion, probably of wood, decayed long ago. The Great Bath. The Great Bath was a rectangular tank in a courtyard surrounded by a corridor on all four sides. There were two flights of steps on the north and south leading into the tank, which was made watertight by setting bricks on edge and using a mortar of gypsum. There were rooms on three sides, in one of which was a large well. Scholars suggest that it was meant for some kind of a special ritual bath. Burials. The dead were generally laid in pits which were sometimes lined with bricks. Some graves contain pottery and ornaments indicating a belief in afterlife. Beads and semi-precious stone jewelry has been found in burials of both men and women, but it appears that the Harappans did not believe in burying precious things with the dead. Looking for luxuries. Items of luxuries made of valuable materials are generally concentrated in large settlements like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. For example, miniature pots of wines, perhaps used as perfume bottles, are found mostly in Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Utilitarian objects such as quants, pottery, needles, flash rubbers, etc. are usually found distributed throughout the settlements. Finding out about craft production. Chanhu was exclusively devoted to craft production, including bead making, shell cutting, metalworking, seal making, and weight making. The materials used were stones like carnelian, jasper, crystal, quartz, statite; metals like copper, bronze, and gold; and shell, fines, and terracotta or burnt clay. Techniques of bead making differed according to the materials. Nageshwar and Balakot were specialized centers for making shell objects, including bangles, ladders, and inlay. Archaeologists usually look for raw materials, tools, unfinished objects, and rejects in order to identify centers of craft production.